patient control of data, we were alluding to this earlier.
Right.
What suggestions do you have for how we should approach making sure that patients get the right levels of controls, but don't screw up the data?
I get asked that question a lot. I truthfully feel that the time has come within health information exchange markets and different organizations that they in fact need to connect the patient and let the patient help drive the future success of the HIE. And by that, what I mean is a patient-controlled or personal health record needs to be part of the overall strategy. And there are some financing models for that too. I mean, either the employer or the patient themselves, or maybe the insurance company that covers them, would be willing to pay if you can show that it makes a difference in their overall care, and that patients are more compliant with their medications, more compliant with getting their preventive measures done, and immunizations and mammograms, pap smears, et cetera. And if you can show that, and there's some good evidence now that's starting to surface along that way. But yes, I think that they need to be part of it. In most HIE development in the US, they have been on the outside.
Yeah.
So they are a target of the HIE, but they're really not a stakeholder, okay? I think that needs to change now, and I think we'll see that changing fairly dramatically here, because in the US we're going to be giving these meaningful use criteria that we have to hit these targets in order to receive the financial incentives from the federal government. And some of those criteria is that you have to connect to the patient and send them their information.
Yes.
Now, the other part of your question is, how do you set it up and restrict it so that the patient can't interfere with the data? All right, a couple things. I think the patient needs to be able to see who's been in their record. So they need a mechanism to monitor that, okay? And they need a mechanism to be able to refuse certain people access to the record, okay? So that's the patient control part, all right? Likewise, the patient should not be able to alter the record. So if a lab test comes or a doctor's note from a visit is part of the personal health record, they cannot and should not be able to alter that in any way, because that puts the doctor at risk medical legally, and it's inaccurate information, and there's all kinds of reasons for doing that. But you could set up the mechanism so that either a visit note or a result or whatever, the patient may be able to annotate that, and they could put their own comment on there, so that when a future provider would see their record, they would see that the patient had commented, and I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think the patient finally can be a nice contributor to the record. Oftentimes, as physicians, either we or our staff are taking the history, all right? And we're filtering that. So they're telling us that, and we're either recording it or typing it or doing something to capture that information. But we're doing it through our eyes and our lenses. And I don't see anything wrong with letting the patient kind of tell the story that they have and give us vital information about their family history and things that have happened to them in the past. Now, physicians will say, well, I don't want to read all that. And that's fine. But it could be there, and it could be summarized in, and it could be codified in some aspects, but they should be able to do that.